Chapter 4. Marchfield. Break time the next day. Jam and I were out on the high street buying our lunch. It was something school only lets you do once you get to year 10. 3 weeks in and Mum's already complaining about my eating rubbish food and spending too much money on it. I told Jam about the diaries while we were waiting to order our pizza from the takeaway bar. "Why don't you just go and read them?" he said. "Because Mum keeps all her old stuff in these locked trunks in our attic." A gust of wind whipped round my legs as a group of girls from another school tottered into the pizza bar. They stood in a cluster at the opposite end of the counter from us, giggling over a menu. Jam ordered our usual, a ham and pineapple pizza with double extra pepperoni for me to pick off. Then we sat down to wait on the metal bench in the corner. "Well, get the keys and go up there," he said. I stared at him. Jam always made everything sound so simple. "What about Mum?" I said. "I'll need someone to keep her out of the way for at least an hour." Jam frowned. "Doesn't she ever go out?" "Not much." It was true. While Dad often doesn't get in until 9 or so, Mum works from home and spends most weekends and evenings in her office too. She isn't exactly a party animal. After a few minutes, Jam wandered over to the counter to see where our pizza was. While he waited, one of the girls from the other school went up to him. She was dead hard looking, with spiky blonde hair, and her school skirt hitched right up to her legs. "My mate reckons you're really fit," she said, jerking her thumb towards a short red head on the edge of the group of girls. I grinned as Jam blushed. He was always getting hit on by girls. I guess he is quite good looking, tall with regular features and lovely smooth golden skin. The hard-faced blonde put her hand on her hip. "So, do you want to go out with her? She's free tomorrow night," she said. There was a burst of giggles from the group at the other end of the counter. Jam was smiling, trying to be nice as he said no. He looked really embarrassed. The man approached with our pizza. I stood up and took the box. Then I turned to the girl. "Sorry," I touched Jam's arm, "but he's busy tomorrow night." I let go of Jam and swept out of the shop. There was a chorus of sarky oohs at my back. I smiled to myself again. It was funny how alike Jam and I were. Not interested in going out with anyone, just wanting to be friends. Well, friends with each other. Jam caught up with me as I set off up the high street. "What did you mean?" he said. "About tomorrow night?" I grinned at him. "I was hoping you'd get Mum out of the way so I can go through those diaries." My plan was simple. Jam's mum, Carla, was always saying she and Mum should get together. What with me and Jam being so good friends. So that night after school, I asked her if Mum could visit her the very next day. "She'd really like to get to know you," I lied. Carla was typically enthusiastic, if a little vague. "How lovely, darling. But tell her to come before 7. That's when I start seeing clients." Of course Mum didn't want to go, partly because she hates going anywhere, and partly because she thinks Jam's mum's a total nut. She's right, in fact, but that's another story. "What does come after 7 mean?" Mum said. "Suppose they're having tea when I get there." I sighed. "They don't have tea like that. They all just drift in and out, getting food when they want it. Come on, Mum. Please, it'll be really embarrassing if you won't go." In the end, Mum agreed. I reckoned Carla would keep Mum talking for at least an hour, plenty of time for me to find the diaries in the attic and have a good look at them. Mum left our house at 5:15 the next day, still grumbling and issuing instructions about Rory not having chocolate before tea. 10 minutes later, Jam rang from his house. "The package has arrived," he said. I giggled. "Don't forget to ring me as soon as she leaves again," I said. As soon as Jam hung up, I raced down to the kitchen to grab as much chocolate as I could carry. I panted back up the stairs and into Rory's room. His podgy little face was bent over his PSP. Jam, in his heroic gesture of friendship, had lent him his Legends of the Lost Ark game. "Here," I thrust the chocolate bars at him. "Now keep quiet. picked up my mobile and charged into Mum's office. All her keys hung neatly on a row of hooks behind her desk. I shoved the set marked attic in my pocket, then ran into Mum and Dad's room. I pulled down the loft ladder and climbed up. I'm guessing, of course, but I imagine most people's attics are a bit of a mess. Bin bags, lots of equipment, suitcases, that kind of stuff. Not ours. Mum has everything organised in trunks, labelled trunks. Clothes, school, university, letters. There, diaries. My hands were shaking as I fumbled with the keys, trying one after the other in the lock. At last, one of the keys turned with a satisfying click. I opened the trunk and peered inside, at the neatly stacked rows of black notebooks. They were labelled in quarter years, Jan to Mar, April to June, and so on. All disgustingly well organised. I rummaged around, found the year I was adopted. I picked out September to December, the 3 months that covered Martha's disappearance and my own adoption. Heart pounding, I scanned the pages, searching for my name. There were references to me on September 25 and 30, but at that point, I was just a possibility, an idea of a child they hadn't met. Then, October 7. We met Lauren at Marchfield. She smiled at me. At least, I'm telling myself it was a smile. Dave said it was more of an accidental curl of the lip. Lauren doesn't smile much. Not surprising, I suppose. With Sonia Hotwood involved, everything's very tense, and I'm sure she picks up on it. I put the diary down. For the first time since I'd found the information about Martha Lauren Purdett on the net, I wasn't sure if I wanted to know any more. My stomach twisted into a knot. Who was Sonia Hotwood? And what exactly were they all involved in? I sat there for a few moments, the diary in my lap. Then I picked it up again. It was too late to turn back. October 14. I daren't hope. I don't want to be disappointed again. October 20. Sonia's attitude is unbelievable. But we're going to go ahead anyway. Nothing's going to stop us getting Lauren. Nothing. October 30. Lauren. My Lauren. After all this time, it's really happening. We're bringing her home from Marchfield in 2 days. That was it. No more references to Sonia or Marchfield. Just loads of stuff about what it's like when they got me home. So what and where was Marchfield? I flicked to the back of the diary, to a clear plastic sleeve containing a selection of business cards. I saw it instantly, a yellowing card with the words Marchfield, Adoption Agency, embossed across the front. The doorbell rang, a long continuous screech. I leapt up and raced to the trapdoor. "Hi, Jam," I heard Rory saying. "Lauren, she's almost here." Jam's yell echoed abruptly up from the hall. I pocketed the Marchfield Agency business card, tossed the diary back in the trunk, and raced down the stepladder. Jam pelted into Mum and Dad's bedroom in time to help me push the stepladder back up into the attic. It clicked into place just as the front door shut. "I'm home," Mum shouted. "Why didn't you call me?" I said to Jam as I carefully replaced the keys on the hook. "I did. Your phone kept going to voicemail. I had to run all the way here, the long way around too." I checked my mobile. The volume was turned right down. Rory was standing in the study doorway, grinning at me. "I did it while you were getting my chocolate," he said. "You little..." I lunged for him, but he slipped out of my grasp. "Do anything and I'll tell Mum you were looking at her things," he said. I stared at him. Fine. I'd get him back some other way. We went downstairs. Jam slipped out unnoticed by Mum. She was in a good mood, clattering about in the kitchen. I suspected Carla had given her more to drink than a cup of tea. "Totally chaotic," Mum said. Poor Jam. They live in the most unbelievable mess. Frankly, the place could do with a damn good clean as well. But of course, Carla's too busy with her hypnoflexology, colour in your own aura nonsense. I nodded, without really listening. My mind was on the Marchfield business card in my pocket. I slipped out the kitchen and went up to my room. Hand shaking, I took out the card. Taylor Tarson, Director, Marchfield Adoption Agency, 11303, Main Street, Marchfield, Vermont, USA. America. I was adopted from America. The missing poster from the website flashed into my mind. Martha Lauren was American too. My skin erupted in goosebumps, sending a shiver sneaking down my back. I was getting closer and closer to the truth. Part of me wanted to run back downstairs, burst into the kitchen and confront Mum with what I'd found out. But what good would that do? She's too young. Mum still couldn't tell me anything. Plus, she would totally freak if she knew I'd been nosing for her diaries. Whatever I was going to find out from the Marchfield Adoption Agency, I would have to find out alone.